As usual, I'm going to introduce a couple of topics and tie them all together, I hope, if I don't lose track of my thoughts. I just saw a long documentary on the best jet fighter in the world, and it showed year by year all the trouble that the Russians went to produce the Su 27, the best fighter in the world. All along, I thought, it looks kind of familiar, but I stupidly thought that the documentary was truthful because it showed how painstakingly they designed and they redesigned and they tested and then when they made this change, they got extraordinarily good results. So they kept that, and that allowed them to do this, and then they did this, and because of that and their great test pilots, the dedication, they didn't mention it was a Cold War and they were doing their best to outgun the United States. The Su 27 looks surprisingly similar to the F 16, F 15, with the nose, the front portion of the plane is actually tilted down so that the fuselage has the shape of the cross section of a wing. The cross section of a wing is designed to create a low pressure area above the wing and provide lift. What they did to this plane, and the dipping of the nose is not as pronounced in the F-16. And they moved the center of gravity back so the nose sticks out further ahead and it's dipping down. This allows them to do extreme maneuvers without losing stability. The plane tends to self-stabilize. Well, I said that to introduce the competition that we used to recognize between Russia and the United States, or more generally, the communist bloc against the West, as it was called, which means Western Europe and the United States and maybe Canada. The communist bloc was Eastern Europe and Russia and China and some South American countries and increasingly some African countries. Communism was spreading, and we were trying to stop it, and that was the reasoning behind Vietnam, the domino theory. If we let one country fall to communism, another will fall, and then another, and then another. You recall I've made a lot of videos recently about climate change, and I confess I'm not focused on climate change. I'm focused on this Cold War rivalry. If a government such as the present-day Russian Federation will spend untold billions developing intercontinental ballistic missiles that can evade all our missile defenses, and if they will build new modern submarines to deliver those missiles, and they will perfect their fighter planes, for example, like I just mentioned, the Su 27, they will go to all this trouble to prepare for war, assuming that we are the aggressor, we're going to be the aggressor, and they have to defend themselves, when it's possible that maybe they might like to be the aggressor themselves, and they might like to spread their influence around the world. There's a whole nother side of this competition that has nothing to do with military hardware, and it's in the realm of active measures, psychological warfare, disinformation, planting bogus stories, for example, or inserting agents of influence into the enemy's government or media or society, whether it be the authors of books or the writers in newspapers or the editors of newspapers, the producers of television documentaries. This is my interest in so-called climate change, because I suspect that there is an effort to subvert the United States through non-military means to weaken in preparation to a conquering of the United States by its enemies. If they prepared and inserted a political candidate for whatever office, however high as he could go, and much to their delight, he made it all the way to the White House, and he either is unwittingly programmed or he's consciously a traitor to his country. He could, for example, initiate all kinds of economic policies designed to create financial disaster, ruin, huge debts, maybe even as high as $17 trillion, while at the same time, with this debt of $17 trillion, he's telling everybody that you can refinance your house using Obama Mortgage. Click on the link and go here and answer 3 questions. And we don't even care if you have a pulse. And not only will you lower your monthly mortgage payments, the banks will even pay you to borrow money. If you borrow money to buy a house, the banks will pay you for the privilege of giving you the money so you can own a house for free, because everybody is entitled to decent, affordable housing. In the same way, everybody is entitled to affordable health care. Why concentrate all your efforts on building fighter jets and submarines and ballistic missiles when you can do a whole lot more harm without firing a shot?